race, of course, the DD2 race, had, what was it, 4 laps in the end before they got the race underway with all of those full starts. So it means that the juniors will pretty much head straight out onto the circuit. You can see them being released onto the track now. And Ken, it's going to be Tommy Prining that leads them around, who's so far, during the course of Friday and what we've seen so far in warm-up, has looked absolutely spot on. But just a word of warning, that sunshine's gone away now, Ken, and 1 or 2 dark clouds are starting to creep over the circuit.
Yeah, I think the most positive thing we can say now is it's wholly dry. It's not particularly windy, but certainly the sunshine is gone. But Tommy Prining told you in interview yesterday, and also myself, he really doesn't mind now what he's racing in. He feels he's an all-round driver, so capable of taking whatever comes. Does feel very confident, doesn't he? You could see it in his body language as well as what he expressed to us. So Tommy Prining will start this one with Richard Verschoor alongside him on the front row. Marta Garcia, the Spanish lady, is on row 2 with Will Tregurtha. Dave Wooder and Darren Keane, row 3. Jarno Opmeyer and Alicia Martinez, another of the Spanish ladies, on row 4. Luke Wooder and Enzo Corsimo completing the top 10 on row 5. Finlay Hutchinson, the Scot, is on row 6 with Alexi Cascitalo. Mauricio van der Laan and Casper Corhus on row 7. We say hi to Kevin Corhus. Kevin, you gave us some great racing with RGMMC in your karting career. We've followed your career in cars. So good to catch up with you again, Kevin. Casper racing on row 7 with Mauricio van der Laan. Luke Willemse and Max Bird are row 8. Hugo Bentley Ellis and Brad Barrett row 9. Jordan Brown Nutley and Michael Badowski completing the top 20 on row 10. Bradley Kent shares row 11 with Antoine Perceval. From Israel, good to have an Israeli driver with us, Ido Cohen. His first ever race at an international level. So proud to be representing Israel. Well done, Ido. We wish you well. You're on row 12, which you share with Ayrton Simmons. And Thiago Stricker and Dickie van der Waal complete the grid on row 13. As Chris said moments ago, the junior race distance in the heats is 7 laps, and so coming round with just 2 turns to go onto the home straightaway. There's Joel Blanc down there, the assistant clerk of the course, just making sure that the speed is where it should be, and also saying, guys, get in the tram lines, get in the tram lines. Oh, and this looks a little bit quick, the approach. Let's see if we're racing. And we are aborted. The start is aborted. Now, neither Chris nor myself are officials. When Jill's with us, we do have an access to the officials' call, but I would rather volunteer that the reason that start was aborted was that the approach speed was not just not slow enough, but it was near racing pace. So Tommy Prining now just going to feel a little bit of pressure, because the onus on bringing these guys round at the right speed, the right pace, primarily with the paceman and his fellow front row starter, Richard Verschoor.
Yeah, so another time around, but pretty early in the lap. You see already being bolt right up. So Tommy Prining slows the pace right down. Tommy's in the number 8 car, Richard Verschoor alongside him in the 62 car. They've got the same race overalls on, but a slightly darker helmet for Tommy Prining, a little bit more pink in the helmet design of Richard Verschoor alongside him. Marta Garcia, one to watch here from 3rd on the grid, the Spanish driver. She's gone very well so far this weekend, and perhaps knows this circuit a little bit better than some of the others around her, Ken. As I've said a couple of times, she's not from this part of Spain, but she has raced here a number of occasions, a 13-year-old. And looks comfortable here, doesn't she?
Yes, although your point that you made earlier is a good one. She's from Valencia, but of course that's way on the east coast, and Spain's a lot bigger country than some in Europe, certainly bigger than the United Kingdom, so it's not exactly a local track. But yes, I'm sure she turns up here at Campios a lot more than most of the other drivers. Okay, we come round again to try a start of a 7-lap junior race. And we are racing, and Tommy Prining on pole position takes the lead. Richard Verschoor a lot more extravagant in his use of the throttle there, trying to get into a 2nd place, but Marta Garcia has beaten him to that punch, so to speak. Will Tregurtha, I think I see in there, and Dave Wooder, yes. Dave Wooder, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if I'm reading that correctly. But certainly Thomas Preining holding the advantage from Marta Garcia and Richard Vasseur as they come round. Richard now putting pressure on Marta as they drop down one of the steepest parts of the circuit. A left-hand wine glass hairpin onto the return home straight using the full width of the tarmac. Thomas Preining glancing over his shoulder and prizing an open there was Richard Vasseur in cart number 62. Lovely. No, sorry, that wasn't. That was Will Tregurtha, wasn't it? Will Tregurtha, I think. No, I'm reading that incorrectly. The first call was the correct call, but Tommy Preining now finding that he's got a little bit of a breather as a result of that passing move, and have to say that that was one that had been predicted by Chris Hartley as a potential passing place, but I was a little bit surprised to see that coming through. Cart number 49 in second place was Dave Wooder, so my call of Dave Wooder in 6 was incorrect earlier on, and Dave Wooder now still under pressure. Marta Garcia just dropping away a little bit. Oh, and Dave Wooder living dangerously and losing second place momentarily, but regaining it, only to lose it again. And all of this, Chris, to the advantage of Thomas Preining. He hasn't seen the good racing and the passing that's gone on behind him. He's simply just built up a 12 cart length lead.
Yeah, Richard Vasseur got his elbows out there, didn't he, and got the place straight back. So Wooder having a real battle with him, and it's Richard Vasseur that hangs on to second place. So the race leader is Tommy Preining by more than half a second now, I would suggest, in the middle part of this lap. Second is Richard Vasseur. Dave Wooder in third position. Marta Garcia still there in fourth. Jarno Opmeer, Luke Wooder 5th and 6th. Darren Keen's up to 7th. Finley Hutchinson up to 8th. 9th is Will Tregurtha, and 10th is Alexei Keskitalo. Will Tregurtha was actually 10th at the end of the first lap, but he's gained a place back, so he dropped from 4th to 10th. He actually got well off the line, Will Tregurtha, but he got hung out to dry around the outside of turn 1, and he got battered a few times through the infield through turns 3 and 4, but he kept his cool, waited for a slot back in the line, and is still in the mix. So young Will Tregurtha, who has a strong pedigree of racing back home in the UK, having finished 3rd in the Anglian Championships last year and 5th in the London Cup, coming to this level of competition for the first time with the team and learning the circuit, but doing a very impressive job so far this weekend in terms of his pace in practice and time qualifying. But Tommy Preining now coming down the hill into the left-hander at turn 9, coming down the back straight. Seems to be pulling away still further from Richard Vasseur. Dave Wooder, Marta Garcia still there in 4th position. Then the number 51 of Luke Wooder in 5th place is up to 5th because he's got ahead of Jarno Opmeer now. Darren Keen is just behind them, just outside the top 6, coming down then towards this flat-out kink and down towards the hairpin at turn 12. Is anybody going to make a move there? Nearly. Maybe Darren Keen can have a gap at the inside, and I think he's gone through. So Keen picks up a place there by the looks of things. The number 9 making a move to go through and get himself up towards the tail end of the top 6 now. And he did get through, and it was a place gained on Jarno Opmeer, the Dutch driver. So up into 6th place now, number 9, Darren Keen. Having a good run here. Darren's got 4 or 5 kart lengths to try and make up on the top 5. But tell you what, it looks like he's flying, and it'd be interesting to see what lap time Darren does here, because he's got nobody in front of him for the first time in the race. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see a few sectors turning blue here, but at the moment it's Richard Vasseur that's flying. He's just set the fastest first sector time of anybody, so Richard Vasseur in 2nd place. He's on a flyer here and closing the gap to the race leader, Tommy Preining, who looks over his shoulder as they come down into this left-hand hairpin at number 10, and already on the way out of the corner, Ken, the gap has come down to nothing all of a sudden. Richard Vasseur, he's absolutely flying in the middle of the lap as well. He's got a personal best middle sector. He hasn't got the fastest middle sector, but he's closing the gap all the time now, and he's almost on the rear tail of the race leader. Tommy Preining is going to hear the whine of a 125cc engine in his eardrums very soon as they come up to start another lap. With 3 laps to go, he's got company. Richard Vasseur is right up there on the tail, Ken, of the race leader.
And putting the pressure on, there's no question, Chris, that Tommy Preining will be feeling this pressure, as you put it, hearing the whine of the 125 engine, but also that sort of sixth sense that tells you, hey, I'm being tracked down. However, Dave Wooder in third place, also giving Richard Verschoor a little bit to think about, but I'm sure that Richard's concentration is entirely let me get past the guy in front. I know I can. I think I'm quicker. Dave Wooder a little later on the brakes, though, there than Richard Verschoor. Now, Tommy Preining, it was only a half-hearted dot, and here's the move by Wooder. Does he execute it? Yes, he does. I thought for a minute he might have not managed to consummate the move, but he has. And, of course, for Tommy Preining, immediately is out of the frying pan and into the fire because he's losing second place as well. Well, in a strange way, Chris, Thomas Preining didn't do a lot wrong, but he wasn't as aggressive, if you will, in his driving into those turns, and he's paid the price.
That's right, Verschoor got him first, and then Wooder got past him. But he's kind of come back now on the way to turn one. Look there, he pulls to the inside and through he goes into turn one. Back to second place for Tommy Preining. So Verschoor leads now. Back up to second place comes Tommy Preining, Dave Wooder on his tail. Marta Garcia is right with them as well. And then there's only a slight gap back then to the next two karts. Luke Wooder, number 51 with a bright pink helmet. And Darren Keane as well in that mix as well. So Darren Keane, who did a personal best lap on the previous lap, has got himself in the mix now. Richard Verschoor, though, the race leader. We're going to have 6 of them together here as they come out of the left-hand hairpin at turn 9 and coming back down towards this left-hander at turn 10. Constantina's up. Darren Keane has a look at the inside for 5th place, and he's gone through ahead of Luke Wooder. So Darren Keane, number 9, runs a little bit wide on the exit into the next corner. Back up the inside of him then goes Wooder. So Luke Wooder briefly lost 5th place, gets it straight back, but it means the pair of them hold each other up and lose out to the top 4, who change positions now, with Wooder going for second place, running wide but holding the position on the way through turn 13, and David Wooder picks up a place. Good lap that for the Wooders, wasn't it? They both pick up a place. So Verschoor goes through in first, Dave Wooder's back to second, Tommy Preining third, Marta Garcia fourth, and then Luke Wooder having this battle with Darren Keane. He's lost out again while all that was happening. Darren Keane back through, and there's going to be a change again. Marta Garcia having a go to get third place, but she runs wide. Darren Keane gets ahead of her for fourth. Luke Wooder passes her as well, and Marta Garcia had to go for third. In the end, it cost her 2 places, and she's going to end up at the tail of this group now in 6th position. So an explosive race this, and Ken, we're on the final lap of it, coming down the hill. It looks like Richard Verschoor has got the race win sorted out, but for second, Ken, they're having a real dogfight still.
Well, absolutely. I felt a little sorry for Marta Garcia. It was right to be shall we say, adventurous. It was right to be ambitious, but she did pay the penalty. It was one of those potential moves which, if you got it wrong big time. And as so often happens, some of the best racing between second and third and perhaps fourth, and the most, shall we say, not necessarily deserving beneficiary of the race leader, and Richard Verschoor, who I don't deny him the victory, but coming home to take a victory by a margin of about 20 metres. There's the checkered flag. Richard Verschoor wins it. Tremendously close finish behind him. Thomas Preining just getting the second place from Dave Wooder, and Darren Keane, Chris, getting himself up to 4th place. Luke Wooder drove really well in that one in 5th place. Marta Garcia, we mentioned moments ago, could have finished 3rd. She's finished 6th. Behind that front-running 6th, Finlay Hutchinson was 7th, Will Tregurtha 8th, Jarno Opmeyer was 9th, and it was Luke Willemse who completed the top 10. But Richard Verschoor's winning margin was 2 full seconds, which really doesn't do justice to the close nature of the racing at the front initially. But behind that 2 seconds advantage, then less than half a second covering Thomas Preining 2nd and Marta Garcia 6th.
Yeah, absolutely cracking race that, wasn't it? Tommy Preining and Dave Wooder swapping places at the start of the last lap as well, with Tommy getting that position back. So Richard Verschoor wins, got the lead with a couple of laps to spare, and then once he got the lead, the others started fighting each other, which is why he finished 2 seconds clear by the time we got to the checkered flag. But it was never really that close for most of the race. It is a TKP 1-2 though. His teammate Tommy Preining will be a little bit disappointed with second, but a mature head on the Austrian shoulders, and he'll know that it's all about Sunday, and she's got to be in the mix. So that's fine. Good start, solid start, 1st and 2nd for them. Dave Wooder, good drive from him, wasn't it, in 3rd? He nearly lost 3rd on the line to Darren Keane, who was weaving around and got a better run coming out of the last turn, but couldn't quite find a way through. And you can see from the timing screens then that there was less than 1/10 of a second between them as they took the flag. Luke Wooder was right on the tail of them. Marta Garcia just dropping back from 4th to 6th, as I described there at the end of the race. Finlay Hutchinson and Will Tregurtha, while all that was going on, were having a pretty close scrap, and finished 7th and 8th with just a couple of tenths of a second between them. Will recovering from having dropped to 10th at the start of the first lap, so good solid result for him. And completing the top 10, Jono Ukmir and Luke Willems, Jordan Brown, Nutley, Max Bird, Hugo Bentley Ellis just outside the top 10 there, as you can see. So there's the results for the top 18, and there are the remaining finishers in that race. Another Spanish driver, Eliseo Martinez, coming home in 19th place for CRG. And from Israel, the only Israeli that we have here this weekend, 25 different countries are represented within the grid this weekend across the different classes. And the Israeli there, Ido Cohen for Pro Train, in 20th position ahead of Michael Budowski, Bradley Barrett, Ayrton Simmons, Anthony Percival, Bradley Kent and Tiago Stricker completing all of the carts then finishing. So Tommy Preining on pole for that one. He finished in 2nd place, and Ken spoke to him